$200 million a year. That's how much Wilson, an agent in the Bay Area, was doing before he added media into his business. See, there's some agents that chase content and media hoping it's gonna help save their business, but the truth is it's not. So I want to show you these 7 playbooks that we helped install in his business that helped him grow from $24 million a year to now even $40 million a year from content and media. The first one is what I'll call is don't kill the golden goose. You have something that's already working and making you money, so you don't want to stop that. You want to stack it on top of it. So I'm going to show you what is the lead sources that. So Wilson has like 5 to 7 lead sources that are not content media. He has past clients, farming, SOI referrals, other online sources like website, Yelp, and open houses that are generating a lot of his listings already. And so when he added media, it was just adding to his lead sources. And so what happens is most people end up trying to add something and they cut the other thing that's already working. So you kind of want to look at it as like a stack. And so the first 1 to 2 years, Wilson added media to his business. He didn't necessarily make a lot from the first year. And then really after about 12 to 16 months of really killing it, he added $24 million a year to his business. And that's about 10% of his business. But now next year, because it's now doubled and stacked on top of that, he's looking at $40 million just from media and content. And what's cool is this all continued to work. And he's still getting 150 million to 180 million plus from all of these other things. And all he did was add another lead source to his business that has now added another $40 million a year, and it's gonna keep growing. So these next 2 are gonna go into his strategy and how he thinks about his media, and the ones after that just stack on top of this. So you wanna know these 2 before you go into the next one too. So what he did is he wanted to own local before he went broad for the entire Bay Area. And this is going to be different for everybody because not everybody necessarily wants to go as broad as he does. However, this concept works for anybody. You want to own a local market before you start to go broader a lot of the times. Because for example, Wilson built his entire business in an area where he was able to become one of the biggest market shares. I think it was like 10%. And then he started to own the county. And then he went from the county into the area. And I'm going to show you how this actually exponentially grew his audience. And so I don't always recommend this for everyone. It's just going to depend on your situation, what type of business you want to build, etc. But he did 10x his audience when he went from the county level. It only has about 700,000 people population-wise, and his key markets had about 262,000 people. So he was able to own that. He was able to own the county. But when it comes to this county, like nobody thinks of the county in the county level. And so that's why he wanted to go broader, and he also has just bigger ambitions and bigger goals. And so he went the entire area as a whole. And that audience has over 7 million people. This is how you want to kind of think about the area. But the next one is super important because it's not necessarily, everyone thinks about like what to talk about or like what to say, what videos to create, but who matters more than what. And so that's why this next playbook of his was really smart. And this is how he was able to really cut through the noise when it comes to social. So this next playbook is what I'm going to call like mirror and match your audience. So you already kind of know who you want to work with or who you're kind of like. And so this is kind of interesting. I'm not going to get into like the demographics of it, but basically he's Asian. He wants to work with a lot of Asians. That's just his demographic. So we're not going to necessarily dive into that. Like at the end of the day, people see themselves like someone and they're just more likely to work with them because they have that relatability. So it doesn't necessarily have to be based on demographic though. It can be on psychographic. Like if you're a golfer, if you like to be on the water, if you're big into religion, if whatever. When you're able to show that externally, you're more likely to connect with people who are more likely to be your ideal client. So when you think about like what you talk about, where these people live, this is where you start to think of who, and who becomes your targeting. And so you have behaviors of yourself, whether they're interests, values, the community that you're in or around, the lifestyle that you have, the culture that you're in, and that is where you want to connect with your potential audience. And that's where the overlap. And that's where you understand that like you don't necessarily need to be outwardly facing about your personal life, who you are, and be like super, super personal if that's not you. You just have to have this small sliver of things that other people can connect with. If you're into fitness, if you're into health, health, if you're into whatever. And that becomes some of the things that you say in the content. So a lot of people might see this and be like, okay, I need to talk about this stuff on the surface of the content. No, when you talk about like where to live in a certain area and what's it like living there, you can talk about the specific areas that you or your ideal client works in. And when you talk about what's it like living there, you can talk about the things that you find interesting, whether you like food or parks or like health and wellness stuff. And that's where you start to get alignment with your ideal client. So this next playbook is the idea of package before you script or film. This is probably one of the most important things when it comes to content, is having the strategy before you do anything. So most people want to focus on the video itself, like the script, how it's delivered, how it's filmed, how it looks. But what actually matters is the wrapping paper. And the wrapping paper on like short form and long form look a little different. And so when I say packaging, I'm talking about like, what is the wrapping paper? What is the thing that gets them to open the gift? So when it's short form, you have visual hooks. This is stuff that they see on screen. It's the first few seconds. You also have audio type hooks, sound design. You also have verbal, the things that are spoken out of your mouth in the first few seconds. Then you have text. So you have 4 different hooks when it comes to short form that you can play with. And when it comes to long form, it's the topic, what's kind of the idea, then what's the title that people see, and then what's the thumbnail. And then there's other things on YouTube that matters, like video length, you as a creator, do you have trust, how many views you have, but just very high level, this is the thing that you want to think about before you film any idea. And what we do is we take this and we make a brief. And what ends up happening is you're kind of pitching an idea before you even like present, before you script or film anything. So it's like any idea that you have, you should have a brief of why you should do this. You should be able to pitch why you should do this content before you even decide to do the content. That's just the way I would think about content. And the reason all of this matters is when it comes to where you invest your time and how you get a return on your time, this can create an outsized return. And let me kind of show you why. There's this idea. Most people want to spend way more time on like post-production, post-work, but 1 ounce, like 1 hour that you spend on pre-production saves you way more of time on post-production. So this is where, when you think about where you invest your time, investing your time on pre-production has a way higher return than spending all this time on post-production. And so that's where this idea all comes, is you want to package your videos before you even decide to script and film and be able to pitch the idea. And you can do that through like a brief, using these elements as an example. Playbook number 5 is batch. Batch everything. Batch ideation, batch script, batch film. And I'm gonna show you why this is gonna make you thousands of dollars and not actually cost you money. Most people get this completely wrong. And so this is the vicious cycle that most agents fall into the trap of, is filming one video at a time, because what ends up happening is you end up on this hamster wheel where you film one time, and you're constantly just kind of keeping up. And there's a problem with that when it comes to time, and especially once you start to understand how you value your time, and you'll see how you're wasting hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. See, when you film 3 at a time, then you give yourself time to now go spend time with clients, go spend time with team, and then you can go back and you can film 3 again. And you filmed 6 in the same time that someone's maybe filmed 4. And you can spend time on things that are important, which is clients, team, the main business. And the biggest problem is when you have to prep before filming, you have to get ready, set up, etc. That's like an hour. And then you have another hour after filming that's breaking down, etc. So pre-work and post-work, it's about 2 hours every single time you film. And if you're a girl, you have to do your hair, you have to do your makeup every single time, and it's a lot. And if you value your time at all, let's say you film 4 times and you have 2 hours each time, you're now spending 8 hours of essentially just kind of like admin work. You're basically prepping and post breaking down filming. And let's just say your time is maybe worth $500 an hour if you're like a team leader, etc. For example, you're now spending about $4,000 just in prep and post work. And that's what happens when you don't batch film. You're spending $4,000 of your time doing all of that extra stuff. And if you cut this in half, where you're only filming once, you only have 2 hours. You're spending $1,000 versus $4,000. You're saving $3,000. But most people do not think about this because they don't think about their time is money all the time, because it's harder. It's harder to conceptualize. But when you see the time that it takes to set up and break down filming, you start to realize that you should film more at one time. You should script more at one time. And that's the idea of batching that Wilson was really big on. And so one of the big things Wilson was really good at is building his team and understanding how to scale media. And I'm going to show you how he thought through that, thought through the organization. And I'll even go into like how he's kind of using AI. That's going to be like a little bit of a hack. However, if you're liking this and you want to know what is the biggest constraint in your business that you should solve today to help you grow into what you want it to be, then you should take the quiz below. I meet with like 5 to 10 plus agents every single month. I met with hundreds from the podcast, people doing anywhere from like 10 million a year to a billion a year, and then all of our clients that we're doing and running media for. And I put all of this information into the quiz below to help you understand what problem is the most important problem for you to solve in your business today that's going to unlock where you want to go tomorrow. And that quiz is for free. It's in the description below and you can take it. And so Wilson started to look at his company kind of like a media organization. And the old school way of looking at real estate is you have sales, you have operations, and you have marketing. And those are kind of like your big key components. Once you start to build an organization, you can have like support, et cetera, as like HR, finance, et cetera. But this is like the 3 core things that most people have. They had buyers, listing agents, EA, virtual assistant, executive assistant, transaction coordinator. And most people in their marketing had a marketing manager, but that doesn't actually scale your time all that well. And a lot of times they're not a strategist, so they don't even know the platforms. So what Wilson did is he started to think, how do I have more creators? And he started to make his agent creators. And he's starting to think about maybe having other creators in-house as well. But that's how you don't always have to be the face of your content. But I don't recommend starting with that necessarily. Think of yourself first as the creator, and then start to think about who on the team could potentially take that a little bit off your plate. But the next thing is a videographer. And this is the one thing that Wilson swears by that he's had for years. This is the thing that helps you as the creator or your team, because now you can kind of license out your videographer to your agents as well, scale their time because they're not having to record themselves, deal with all the filming. And so that's the one thing that he has had either on staff or he's had access to nearly all the time the last 4 to 5 years is a videographer. And what scales the videographer's time is having editors. Because if you're filming, you're not able to spend the time editing. And if a typical YouTube video might take 10, 15, 20, 30 hours to just edit one YouTube video, and then you have multiple hours to edit a short form video, you can't have a videographer do both. And so that's why you end up seeing, for example, Wilson has editors. And then he, for example, hired us, and that allowed them to have even more leverage as well. But when you think of the media as an organization, you start to look at what do you need for that to thrive. You have people in video, maybe some people in writing, maybe some people in design. But that's where it's cool, is like when you start to generate income from the content, from the media, from the brand, you can start to allocate that money to the team. And this is the same way that most organizations, businesses, et cetera, are starting to think, is how do you have an operating expense that goes into media and marketing, not just like one-to-one, where most like paid, like advertising, paid leads, et cetera, is like a very linear ROI. Media scales. For example, Wilson started at 0. He's doing 24 million a year for media, and now he's about to do 40 million, and he's probably going to 2x that. And he's not 2xing his headcount in order to do that. And that's what's pretty crazy when it comes to media. And that's like 1 to 2 million a year in GCI that he's getting all from his media. And what's cool is how he's thinking about this actually through AI. And so you can leverage some aspects of this, and I'm just going to show you just one small way that he's done it, just to kind of think through. But I wouldn't do it just for marketing and media. That's what most people think. You want to see how do you use AI for sales and operations. We've invested a lot of time and money into the operational side of AI, and the return's way higher than just marketing and media. But there's one cool thing that you can do with AI. For example, he's been able to mostly automate his short form scripts through Claude. And I'm going to kind of show you that quick workflow. And so Wilson has a co-work agent that I think every single Monday it looks at the log, what is saved of the topics and ideas that he's already created scripts around. And then it goes and it researches new topics, new ideas. And this is easy with his short form because the short form is news. So it's looking for more news, and it's able to search for that very easily online. And then the next step after that is it writes it from his scripts, because you're able to give it the outline of what you want, and then it can save that into an Excel sheet, and then it can run that loop, because you can schedule it every Monday, you can schedule it every day, or whenever you want, and that's how you can exponentially save way more time. Now, this is a lot harder to do on YouTube, or if you're doing short form that comes from like viral videos and you look at the strategy of that. But when it comes to like news-based content, this is a way how you can increase capacity as well. But that is one of the biggest things when it comes to businesses that most people don't realize how to think through, is how do you increase the capacity of your team without necessarily having to always increase headcount as well. And that's why this is super important when you look at what does the organization need to look like in the next year. And then you can start to think through how do you maybe add AI in some of those layers so that you can increase without having to always increase headcount of the company. So most people, when they think of content, they think of what platform should I be on? How can I add new platforms? And they're always thinking in terms of new. But what's easier is increasing incrementally what you're already doing and then getting better at it, because you don't have to add a whole new platform that requires an entire new strategy, an entire new way to write, entire new way to edit, entire new way to use design, and then entire new way to post. So you have 5 new things for every new platform. Versus if you just do more of what you're already doing, it's already working, and then you make that better, it's way better. And this is how Wilson started to think through content and scaling. So most people don't understand there's levels to everything, and there's levels to the game of content. Like level 1 is just doing like 1 long form video a week, or maybe like 3 short form videos a week. But then if you want to scale more, you can do 2 long form or 5 to 7 short form. So like daily to like 2. And then level 3 is 3 to 5 long form a week, or like doing twice a day of short form. And most people don't even realize there's way more levels to this. Like, for example, there's people who are literally posting 2 to 3 to 10 plus long form a day, and people who are posting literally 3 to 5 short form videos a day. And so when you look at how do you get more leads, how do you get more business, it's a volume, just like sales. And that's the thing that most people don't realize, is you can actually scale volume of media and content to scale how many leads you get. But it starts with going more, getting better, and then doing new. That's why you see people have multiple channels, multiple accounts, and there's people who, like Gary Vee is talking about posting 450 times a day or a week, and like I know Alex and Layla are scaled from like 300 posts a day to like 1,000 or so. I forget the numbers, but like that's where the insanity comes with content, is you can just scale the output. And so when you think about how do you want to get more, you think of volume, and it's the same thing of sales. So these are the 7 playbooks to help Wilson scale his media from 0 to nearly $40 million a year in his real estate business. And if you want help with any of this, you can click the link in the description below. You can see if it's a good fit to work with us and see how we installed these playbooks into Wilson's business. We can do the same for you. So click the link in the description below, see if it's a good fit. If not, no big deal. But if you're curious where to even start with any of this, what are the first steps to building a brand, doing content, etc., then you should watch this video next, because it's going to go into all of that for you. So I'll put this up here for you to watch next.